Women who are so particular and opinionated and spiky that you no longer can project.
Why is everyone still mad? I've already apologized. I've used the age excuse. I've said I'm just a girl.
They're uncomfortably too human in a theater kid-ass feely type way.
Okay, what in the theater kid was that? We don't hate to see you win. That's kind of self-absorbed and narcissistic.
I think people would love Rachel if she'd stayed hot and unknowable.
I think you're gonna need more than just hope. I think you better prep. Listen, I'm not trying to absolve myself from the dumb things I've said online. They're still dumb, but I was just a baby.
I don't know, but I just have never expected perfection.
I think that in the future, when we reflect on what happened, it is going to come to be known as the girl bosses who flew too close to the sun, okay? People say that. This is an example of that. Girl boss, I'm a girl boss. I can do whatever I want. Men ain't bleep. Men are terrible, whatever. We can do whatever we want in this era.
Before we get into this madness, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, because what's happening with Rachel Zegler's Evita isn't just a theater controversy anymore. It's turning into a full-blown cultural reckoning. It started with whispers, and within 48 hours, it exploded into a cultural firestorm. Rachel Zegler's Evita, already on thin ice after walkouts, refund demands, and accusations of performative politics, is now facing something far more serious.
I think that in the future, when we reflect on what happened, it is going to come to be known as the girl bosses who flew too close to the sun, okay? People say that. This is an example of that. Girl boss, I'm a girl boss. I can do whatever I want. Men ain't bleep. Men are terrible, whatever. We can do whatever we want in this era.
A petition calling for the entire production to be shut down has just crossed 100,000 signatures. That's not a typo. 100,000 people in just over a day have signed a document saying they've had enough, that the show is an insult, a distortion, a disaster that disrespects everything Evita was meant to represent.
The narcissist is going to remain a one-person wrecking crew. Please protect yourself, as their rage and their manipulation can literally make you sick, both mentally and physically. And not calling them out is not enabling. A lot of people say, if I don't call them out, then I'm part of the problem. They're already enabled. And you calling them out in a strange way enables them more.
And what's worse, it's not just trolls or haters signing it. Verified theater critics and even some longtime Zegler fans are calling it out, saying this show crossed a line.
And if you've ever seen Evita, it is a challenging part to play. And I don't think she has the temerity, the stamina, you pick a word here, in order to pull it off going, every single day that the theater is open.
The petition itself reads like a manifesto. It accuses the West End production of erasing historical nuance, forcing modern ideology into a sacred legacy, and casting a lead who, quote, doesn't understand the role she's in. It's brutal, and yet it's resonating. Because what's being exposed isn't just a bad musical. It's a cultural flashpoint. Then came the clips. Literally no idea why he's covered in cake frosting, goop, slime at the end of the show. What I do love, though, is everybody trying to figure out why it's happening and what the context is. And look, I haven't seen the show. I don't know why it's happening. But the theories are incredible. Some people saying the blue and white represents the Argentinian flag. That's... yes, but why is it goopy? I don't know. If you are at the first preview of Evita, or any of Evita, if you know anything about Evita and why he's covered in stuff, let us know. Social media has already dubbed it the biggest embarrassment in modern musical history. And not just because of bad ticket sales. This goes deeper. Audiences are calling it a woke rebranding project disguised as art. A popular TikTok voiceover says, "You didn't modernize her story, you buried it under ego and politics." And every hour, the backlash just keeps building. The comparisons came fast. So there's a lot of discourse right now about how Jamie Lloyd's production of Evita, starring Rachel Zegler, looks a lot like his production of Sunset Boulevard. And people are like, oh, is he just doing the same thing again? I saw a video just now from the creator Matt Seiler, which I totally agree with, and I'll link it in the caption, where he's talking about how, it doesn't bother me when an artist's work looks like their other work. That's just called having an artistic voice. The video goes on to describe Jamie Lloyd's style as Regie Theater, a German term meaning director's theater, where creative control often takes priority over traditional storytelling. But even that context didn't stop the backlash. 10 days ago, this show was being marketed as Zegler's comeback. Now, it's being called a career killer. Zegler's own statements haven't helped. Like, I'm a very mentally ill piece of, oh boy. Opening night was supposed to be her redemption arc. Instead, it turned into chaos. Rachel Zegler, her stock is through the roof after this movie. I can't believe it. I very much had no interest in seeing Rachel Zegler in any movies heading into this, and watching this made me forget that I really don't like her as an actress. All is forgiven with the Snow White controversy. But by the end of the second act, full rows were empty. Some demanded refunds on the spot, others left in disgust, filming themselves storming out with captions like, "This is not Evita, this is a bad joke. He works here and he's helping me. I love him. I love him so much." One clip that went massively viral, a couple whispering, "Is this satire?" as Zegler belted out one of Eva Perón's iconic lines, allegedly rewritten with updated feminist buzzwords. That single moment got over 6 million views in 24 hours. And it wasn't just about the lines. Reports say the standing ovation at the end wasn't even real. A leaked memo claimed cast members were instructed to start clapping to avoid awkward silences. Let's talk about that feminist writing critique. Writers lean so hard into feminism that they circle back around to misogyny. I still don't follow. A character learning from their mistakes is the most compelling thing that they can do. Exactly. That's why we so rarely see girl boss characters being held accountable for their actions. It sparked a wider conversation about strong female characters and how Evita failed to give hers depth or growth. Meanwhile, reviews flooded in. A political lecture wrapped in glitter. Zegler delivers her lines like she's still on a press tour, not a stage. And once again, TikTok. Rachel Zegler is the prime example of how you should never think that you're bigger than the project. Backstage, things were even worse. Anonymous crew members revealed the production had been falling apart weeks before opening night. One wardrobe assistant said, "It was chaos from day one. Nobody agreed on the tone. Scripts were getting changed every night. Everyone walked on eggshells around Rachel." Another cast member added, "She was protected, untouchable. If someone challenged a line or scene, it was brushed off as not supporting the new vision." Tech crew leaks claimed scenes were rewritten just days before the premiere. One internal email referenced increasing concerns about Rachel's ability to embody the role with cultural sensitivity. Even cultural consultants allegedly walked out during rehearsals, but no one listened. Why? Because too much was riding on the image rehab. And then came the global reaction. A viral TikTok from an Argentinian woman in tears said, "That's not her. That's not who we grew up honoring. This is cosplay." Historians and Latinx critics accuse the show of rewriting Latin history into a Western-friendly TikTok template. Even Buenos Aires-based journalists say Argentine cultural institutions may issue a formal statement, not just a tweet. An official denouncement. The Fundación Eva Perón allegedly received dozens of messages from angry Argentinians abroad, furious about the way their national icon was portrayed. And the empty seats? They speak louder than anything else. Photos show matinee performances with entire rows empty. Promo codes blasted out to save face. One user joked, "I just bought third-row tickets for less than a coffee. That's how bad it is." By now, even Zegler's defenders have gone silent. One reviewer put it perfectly. "I felt like I was watching someone rehearse a TED Talk in costume." Another wrote, "It's like they wanted to offend everyone. Fans of the original, Latin audiences, and anyone who respects theater. This isn't just a backlash, it's a movement. A call for accountability, for respect, for historical truth over viral gimmicks. And if the rumors are true, if Argentina steps in, this won't just be a PR disaster. It'll be international." Subscribe to stay updated on where this story goes next, because this ride is far from over.